Welcome to the U.S. Military Base YouTube channel. Let's start with the latest news of the military agenda. The Ukrainian General Staff reported that Ukrainian rocket forces and artillery units hit 5 clusters of Russian military personnel and equipment, an ammunition storage point, 2 artillery systems and a logistics center. Warplanes and helicopters, which carried out coordinated attacks with the Ukrainian artillery, carried out more than 15 missile attacks on 4 regions where Russian military personnel and equipment were concentrated. Official reports indicate that Ukrainian warplanes destroyed 7 Russian artillery systems and 2 important equipment in these attacks. In response to these attacks of the Ukrainian forces, the Russian forces attempted to attack from 4 different fronts. After more than 50 attacks by Russian missile units, all 36 attacks of Russian tank and infantry units were repelled by the Ukrainian defense forces. Russian forces suffered heavy losses, especially on the fronts where fierce fighting took place, such as Avdiivka and Marinka. The Tavria regional commander of the Ukrainian army, Brigadier General Oleksandr Tarnovsky, reported that the Russian forces lost a company soldier in the clashes that broke out on the Tavria front at night. Stating that Ukrainian artillery and missile units carried out 342 attacks on the Marinka front at night, the general reported that 1 tank and 3 war vehicles were destroyed. After the end of the violent clashes that continued during the night, the Russian army started the attack again with the missiles it had been stocking for a long time. The commander-in-chief of the Ukrainian armed forces, Valery Zaluzhny, reported that the Russian army carried out a new missile attack in the early morning. Stating that 15 of the 18 missiles launched by the Russian forces were destroyed by the Ukrainian Air Defense Forces, Zaluzhny thanked his soldiers for this success. The Russian army, which has not carried out missile attacks for a long time, attempted a large-scale missile attack for the second time last week. However, according to the reports of the Ukrainian intelligence, these missiles launched by the Russian army were produced in the first quarter of 2023. This shows that the Russian army's missile stocks are completely depleted. Experts say that the Russian army can produce a maximum of 100 missiles in 1 month. Considering that we have entered the final phase of the war, we can say that if the Russian army does not increase its missile production capacity, it will face serious problems. Even worse, explosions from Russian soil a few minutes ago indicate that the Ukrainian army will cross all the red lines for victory. In this regard, the governor of Russia's Bryansk Oblast, Alexey Bogomaz, reported that a violent explosion occurred on a railway line in Bryansk Oblast, on the Russian-Ukrainian border. At the moment of the explosion, a military train carrying fuel derailed as it crossed the tracks. In the shared videos, it is seen that the train, consisting of about 60 wagons and at least 8 wagons, has disappeared. In addition, Ukraine mentioned the Su-75 checkmate in an analysis of the war. According to Ukrainian Air Force spokesman Yuri Ignat, Ukraine has found no evidence that the Su-57 and Su-75 were used in combat. According to the Ukrainian military, Moscow may have ordered remote control of the Su-57 and Su-75. Thus, the 2 planes appear as flashes on Ukrainian radars during only one operation. It is extremely illogical to talk about the Su-75 in connection with the war in Ukraine. Russia has never officially claimed to have developed a Su-75 prototype. Before the war, Moscow exhibited a model of the Su-75 at 1 or 2 exhibitions, mostly in the Middle East. Russia has never claimed any involvement of the Su-75 in the war in Ukraine. Moscow claims that only the Su-57 Felon is involved. In fact, not only Moscow but also London claims the same thing. Mr. Ignat's statement that the Su-57 appeared as a signal on the radar also raises serious doubts. Russia has never claimed that the Su-57 entered Ukrainian territory. Moscow and London claim the plane was used for out-of-sight attacks. This means that the Su-57 fired a long-range missile over Russian soil. The Bulgarian military newspaper wrote long ago that Russia will not put the Su-75 into mass production anytime soon. In fact, according to a former National Security Council official in the George W. Bush administration, this plane may never go into mass production. Late last year, we wrote about the ambitious 5th-generation single-engine fighter project that could end the war in Ukraine. The Su-75 checkmate was targeted by a Middle Eastern country, as well as India and Vietnam. However, the war in Ukraine and the diversion of resources into the production of existing weapons technology will either seriously delay the production of the Su-75 or not start at all. Although Russia claims that the Su-75 will enter mass production in 2026, there is no indication that this is true. First, the war in Ukraine forces Russia to seek a foreign investor for this project. Secondly, even if a miracle happens and the plane crashes on the production line, it will be almost impossible to sell it abroad because the plane will have neither combat experience nor clear capabilities. The Su-57 is more likely to be a successful fighter for sale abroad than the low-budget Su-75. But Russia categorically opposes the analyses and assumptions of Western experts. Also in mid-last year, United Aircraft Corporation announced that they had started production of 4 Su-75 prototypes. UAC Director General Yuri Slyusar also announced that an unmanned version of the fighter jet will be developed. Others believe that Russia can afford to develop the Su-75 despite the war. As a justification for such a statement, they state that the Su-75 will use many ready-made solutions, systems and weapons of the Su-57. According to the plans of the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation, the Su-75 should conduct its first flight test in 2024. This year was chosen after Moscow changed the year of the first test flight several times. First it was 2022, then it was 2023, and now it's 2024. According to available data, the future of the Su-75 was predetermined. It is believed that the United Arab Emirates financed the Russian project. The first signals of this were years ago at one of the IDEX exhibitions in Abu Dhabi, Russia, and the UAE announcing a joint project for a fifth-generation stealth fighter. In the coming days, we will follow all the military and political developments in the world, especially the Russia-Ukraine war, for you. To be informed of developments faster, you can subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. Also, if you like our video and leave a comment, you will make us feel your support. For now, I wish everyone a good day. See you soon.